Hey there everyone, my name is Milky Sharp with the guys up at Games. Back with some more Halo 3 on Legendary, last level. I mean it's pretty fitting that that's called Halo, of course. You know, bookending, kinda. Technically the second level Halo 1's called Halo, but you know, that's kind of semantics in a way. There's kind of a running gag about this series that every time you drive a Pelican, it ends up crashing. And of course they do that here too. There's a bunch of weapons here at the start. I mean, there's a bunch of weapons here, but it's you grab the PR. I guess there is an SMG. Just the one. You can barely see it. It's like in the snow. Like where was that even? Is it this? Oh yeah, look at that. You can barely see it. It lands and then suddenly just sinks into the snow. There's also these T pieces that kind of look like pistols, but they're not. They do give you a rocket to start with, which is quite nice. But, oh, there is... No, that's an assault rifle. If they gave you two SMGs to start with, I could see a reason to pick that up, but... I mean... I mean, I say that, but, like, it's not like it's bad on its own. It's just, you know... It's the Halo 3 way, where... The Flood are... not the worst thing ever, but it's the way that like you get like you basically experience the Flood all at once at the end of the game, and it's just kind of just this like jam packed full of them at the end, because it's like Halo 3's campaign's already fairly short compared to the rest of the series, and then also the Flood are kind of all right at the end. It's like you get one super short mission in the middle of the game, and you get a tiny taste at the end of the Covenant, and then it's just Cortana and Halo back to back. That's just nothing but Flood. And the way Flood is set up, there's really no reason not to just do this. Especially on Legendary, where they're all really spongy. I guess it's technically... I say technically because, like, yeah, the elite ones will just randomly have shields and just be a total pain, but there's like it's not like having a different weapon would change that. It's still just wait till Arbiter takes out their shields and then you shoot in the face, or he just kills them randomly because apparently he's strong. Who'd have thought? I'm not even sure if Arbiter has the invincible dude problem, because like the like, I have no idea how that stupid invincible Flood glitch works. It's just sometimes you just cannot kill them with anything except like certain things, and I don't know what causes that. It only seems to happen with melee attacks, but sometimes it'll happen with other stuff too. It's really weird. Like, I don't know what it even causes it. It's something to do with their shields, because it only happens with the Elite Flood. Also, that guy has a shotgun. That's great. And, like, it's so weird because it only happens if you try to punch them. If you shoot them, it'll never happen, basically. I don't know why it's like that. See, it's perfect fun to just shoot this guy and punch him. But if I try to punch his shield, sometimes he'll just never die, you know? Honestly, if it weren't for that bug, the Flood would be way more enjoyable to fight in this game. It's just, that one bug that's just a killer. Because, like, oh boy. Like, it's hilarious in a way that they made the Flood super weak to melee attacks in this game. But then there's just a glitch that just randomly makes it not work on them. So, it's like, I don't know. Like, I always say, I swear it happens more in MCC than in other versions, but, like, I don't know. It still seems like surely someone must have come up with it. I don't even know what that guy just did. He died and then just flew away. Those guys kind of freaked out too. That was weird. I always love this little set piece. There's just like infinite stalkers coming out of this hole. What are they doing? I don't know. They just go up to the top and then they're just gone. Like, let's see what they do. Never actually watched. It's kind of funny to think. I always noticed them coming out of the hole, but I never see where they actually walk to. They just kind of go up to the top, jump down, and then presumably they're just gone, because it's not like they're up there waiting for you. This level's actually pretty generous with stuff. Like, I think there should be... I know there's rockets on the other end, but I know there's a fear rod around here too. And like, it's not a terrible idea to like give it to Arbiter if you can. Oh, well, here's the fear rod. Apparently it's just kind of sitting there. Is that really where it's supposed to be?
There should be ramps that lead to the top. Check the other side.
And then of course there's the infamous little jump you can do here to skip the whole like ramp section. But I mean, I'm not gonna do that. Where's the fun in that? I mean, it's not really much of a playthrough if I just skip half the level. It's kind of funny because like they tried really hard in this game to make it so you couldn't do that because you. Oh, okay. So I did not know that happens. So apparently, if the missile pods from the flood land next to you, it actually darkens your screen. I didn't know that was a thing because I don't think that's ever happened to me before. I know there is the somewhat infamous bug where sometimes the pods will land and just not blow up, so they'll just be kind of a pod sitting there. It's actually a pretty like high-res model for considering you see it for like a split frame before it blows up on the ground. I guess you can see it pretty easily in theater, so it kind of makes sense. You know, theater is that godsend that makes everything worth it. Although it also makes things like a pain, I imagine, to design because you have to really put things far away. Otherwise, people can just go into theater mode and see all your dudes just kind of spawn in midair. I am suddenly gonna die because I forgot that, yeah, like 20 dudes just drop down and I'll shoot you and you just die. That'll happen. I mean, that's legendary in a nutshell. Oops. Everyone jumped on top of me, I'm dead. You know, I was mentioning that it only happens to the elite dudes, but it kind of does happen. Dude, that guy is a shotgun. The shotgun dudes are not quite as, like, instant death from 20 miles away as they were in Halo 2, but they still, like, yeah, they definitely do, you know, punish you for trying to punch them. Mostly because I feel like they tend to shoot, like, to, like, purposely miss you in this game. Like, you could see, like, even though I was standing right next to him, you somehow didn't insta-kill me, so you couldn't have hit me direct on, at least. The invincible flood bug does kind of happen with the other ones. It's just, it's really weird how it happens with them. They'll just kind of, like, stop doing anything when it happens. Like, they'll just start walking in a direction. And then eventually those blow up anyways. Like, I think that actually might not be a bug, and I think that might be what the elites are trying to do. It just doesn't work for them or something. Maybe, I don't know. That's just a guess. Because what'll happen is if you do like a... Well, okay, that's not true because they don't do that. I don't know, man. It's just weird. The flood in this game are just so weird and like... I don't even know what to say about them. Like, they're really... Like, it is really funny to me how, like, in many ways, Halo 3's campaign feels almost as rushed as Halo 2. Which is kind of crazy to think about. Not to mention just how unbalanced everything is. Like, I get what they were doing with the flood, but it's crazy to me that they made the flood... Like, the flood went from being basically impossible to kill by punching to basically being the only good way to kill them in this game. With these stupid stalkers. The stalkers will just eat everything you do to them that isn't a plasma rifle. Unless you just punch them. Like, I don't know why they're like that. Like, that's probably one of my biggest problems with them, even without the stupid glitch. It's just, hey, let's just have every single weapon do nothing to them. Oh. Well, that's totally my fault. I just walked up to him and he punched me. I mean, you know. Oh yeah, and also this part of the level it's really bad with checkpoints for some reason. You'll just do half the area and just get nothing. Sometimes, you know, it is what it is. But like, look at this guy. He's gonna kill me. Just pump him full of lead and he just does not care. I haven't even mentioned this. It's the last level, and I'm now gonna mention that. So, when these guys are in their tank form, what you're supposed to do is shoot them in the mouth. Right? If you shoot them anywhere else in their body, it generally won't do anything to them. The thing is that it's just like with all the other dudes, it's way easier to just punch them, because punching them is still really strong. Especially if you have a sword, the sword will insta-kill them. And it's kind of ironic, because the tank forms are probably the easiest to kill, because they at least have a weak spot, whereas the other dudes will just kind of eat everything you do to them, right? Like the stalkers are especially, or the ranged ones are especially bad, because like they pretend to have a weak spot. There's a spot you can shoot at them that'll make your reticle change color, but like it still doesn't do anything. Like it's like go find an area with one of the ranged dudes and try shooting them with anything that isn't a plasma rifle. You will waste like half your ammo trying to kill one of them. Because anything that isn't specifically a plasma rifle or just like a grenade just does like so little to them. Ugh. I don't know why it's like that. And then there's this part of the level where Johnson will just randomly betray you with the Spartan laser sometimes, because he'll shoot at anything he sees, even if you're in the way. So you just kind of have to keep an eye on that. And also, even if you kill the dude, he'll keep shooting their bodies. So you have to watch out for dead bodies too. It's kind of funny in a way. I mean, it's really not that bad, but it's only, you know, situations like that that are a little egregious. Where he just straight up was like aiming at a dead body. Like he wasn't even like shooting at a guy who just died. The Flood died, and then like a couple seconds later he starts shooting it. So if you're just standing near a dead body, you might just die. This level also really likes to do this, where you have a bunch of them will just drop down all at the same time. And it kind of punishes you for like not knowing that it's about to happen, because like they don't really give you a lot of safe spot to be. If you go underneath the ramp, it's fine, but like, that's kind of the thing. If you don't already like see that it's happening, it's kind of can be kind of rough. Especially because they like to give them brute shots, and you know how brute shots are in this game. They'll just kill you in 2 shots with like pinpoint accuracy. I mean, I say that, but it's really not that bad. It's just, it's the main way you're gonna get killed. Because all the missile pods mostly are just like, who cares? The dispersal pods. They don't really do much to you. Hey, this guy's a neither, I'll take it. I think there's one over here. I could have picked up that hammer earlier, but like, whatever. Apparently I'm part of the Needler gang today. Oh! I forgot they dropped down again. What the heck? Just like extra reinforcements for some reason. And Johnson gonna kill me. Should I show off the rather... Oh. See what I mean? I shot that dude with a rocket launcher and he just doesn't die. Instead he gets sent flying into me and punches me. Like he planned it or something. Also, they do have this sweet dodge animation. Look at that, the way they roll. I mean, that's kind of the thing with Halo 3. It's very pretty, if nothing else. Like, all the animations are very well crafted. Everything looks so much better than, like, Halo 1 and 2. Like, the texture quality is great. Bungie uses their patented bump mapping to make everything look nice and 3D. Also, if you're playing on not Legendary, there's an invincibility here. But Legendary goes ahead and gets rid of that. So you're kind of just at the mercy. You get no freebies.
Well, we are finally doing what he wanted.
Anyways, this part's fun. There's a bunch of Flood that'll just jump up here with rockets and fuel rods that'll just insta-kill you on Legendary. So you kind of just want to hang back. I know, big surprise. That's kind of Halo in a nutshell. The worst part is like they don't do it all at once. Like they'll just be like in the middle of a wave. They'll just suddenly be like out with rockets. And if you don't already know he's coming, you're just kind of gonna you might just get blasted in the face. Ugh. Die. Oh, there's another one. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's my bad. Johnson can be kind of helpful here, but he tends to... Sometimes he'll do this, where he's just standing there and not doing anything. He's like at... Like, do you see him? He's not even aiming his gun. He's just walking around. I don't know. That happens sometimes. I don't know what causes that. Just sometimes he just kind of gives up on doing anything. And then he suddenly stops doing that. Also, Arbiter just got domed. Holy crap, I'm gonna die. Arbiter's stupidly tanky in this game, but he still just will die to headshots randomly. Whew! Yeah, this part's kind of spicy. There's a lot of stuff just jumping around. And unfortunately, the Sentinels don't respawn as fast as you'd like. Like, they put the things here, but they kind of just... Half the time, they're just kind of sitting there doing nothing. Oh god. Oh hey, it's the Maulers. You know, I'll pick these up. I only have one rocket left anyways. The Mauler is shockingly good against the Flood. Honestly, I think in general it's probably better than the shotgun. Because it comes with the extra lunge range and just is also still fairly strong. That guy had a shotgun and he like shot it into the air, thank god. The Mauler's still strong enough to mostly one-shot dudes, so it's really not that bad. There was the rocket guy, and for some reason he was like punching the wall. I don't know. Let's call that luck of the draw. Like you've probably noticed, like every time I kill the pure forms, I'm rarely ever actually shooting them. It's just you punch them or you use grenades or something, because like they're just a pain otherwise. Like I don't have a problem with them having like a weakness like that. It's just like, where's the plasma rifle? You know, there's no plasma rifles pretty much anywhere. I mean, I said and I picked one up, but it's like I just think it's kind of egregious that they're basically just weak to one gun. That's how you kill them. Even the Sentinel beam is surprisingly weak against them.
Open up. Ghost is clear.
Not for long. I'm tracking additional dispersal pods. They'll be hitting any minute.
I mean,
let's move.
there's a trick you can do to bring some weapons with you, but I won't do it. We'll just leave it be. It'll be fine. Right, because everything outside will disappear, but anything inside won't, so you can just kind of drop stuff in here and it'll be fine. And I'm sure everyone knows about the infamous quirk where if you... Johnson has like a Spartan laser. It's weird. He has a Spartan laser right now. If you kill him for that Spartan laser, it's just a normal Spartan laser. But if you kill him again for his second Spartan laser, that one has infinite ammo. And the reason why it's like that is because I guess Bungie kind of goofed up. So there's two Spartan lasers in this level, right? Because there's the infinite ammo one for the boss fight, because, you know, if you ran out of ammo, otherwise you'd be screwed. But so they have a specific Spartan laser for this level that has infinite ammo, and for whatever reason, Johnson will, like, if he doesn't have a gun, he'll spawn with that Spartan laser for whatever reason, even though it doesn't matter, because he's not going to run out of ammo anyways. But for whatever reason, they just decided to give him that Spartan laser as like his backup, oops, I don't have a gun weapon. So if you kill him twice, you get that Spartan
I
laser.
take no pleasure in doing what must be done.
Anyways, if you have a bubble shield here, you can just kind of sit here for free.
Deserve this ring.
Sparkle just shoot the bubble shield and do nothing.
I have kept it safe. It belongs to me.
Not for long.
The way he bounces around looks kind of bad, actually, because like it's like he doesn't bounce normally. He just kind of flies to a spot and then just drops.
My eye. Do you mean to blind me?
By the way, how many people have ever noticed that there's snow in this room
I'm just doing it.
falling from the sky, and it's falling because there's just a big hole in the sky? Like, it's kind of sad in a way. You're in this room for all of like 10 seconds, but it's such a well-crafted room. Like, this is such a nice-looking version of the control room from Halo 1. Like, you can go around the whole ring if you want. There's no reason to, but you can. There's like the cool-looking hole in the ceiling so they can have snow falling in. Like, it's really nice looking. And then the boss fight's over in 10 seconds, so... And for the rest of the level, you basically get 4 guns. You start with your assault rifle, there's some of these plasma rifles, there'll be spikers from the brute ones, and the sentinels will drop their sentinel beams. And that's it for the rest of the level. You're rocking the classic, I say classic like the spiker is in every game, even though it's only in this game. I guess it's in Reach 2, but like barely. Since it's not multiplayer at all, and it's on like, what, like 3 campaign missions? Anyways, hey look, finally fighting Sentinels in this game. How fun.
The frigate. We still have a chance.
Sentinels in this game are kind of ridiculous. They're the biggest glass cannon ever. They kill you incredibly fast because of how strong the Sentinel beam is in this game. But then they die in like 2 shots to like most
The
guns.
dawn is on the other side.
It's actually kind of hard to get a Spartan, whatchamacallit, or a Sentinel beam in this part of the level because most of the Sentinels like to just kind of hang out in the sky. Like this. And like you can't lure them because Arbiter will just shoot them. You can see how well they killed them though, like all the flood here just get melted. It's funny, I say you fight Sentinels, like you fight like what? Like 10? And then that's it? They're like all in this room basically. There we go. Oh! Please don't kill me. Look how the ridiculously tanky the elite ones are. I have a Sentinel beam, which is like the most disgustingly powerful weapon in the game. It's still like they get killed by Arbiter pulling out his sword. I mean, I say that, but the Assault Beam is weirdly bad against Blood in this game for whatever reason. Like you can see like these carriers, for example. It's honestly better to just shoot them with an assault rifle half the time. It doesn't really make a difference, though. I mean, if nothing else, it is still very good against the infection forms.
There, Johnson's Warthog.
It gets shredded. Anyways, everyone's favorite Warthog run. Hooray!
Come on, Spartan. Go, go, go!
If you've ever been to this part with Arbiter not being your friend, he'll just repeatedly get in and out of the Warthog. Because he gets out, and then he gets teleported, and then he gets out, and then he teleports, and that just loops until he stops being your enemy, which is like a funny little thing. Anyways, let's see if we can do some of the fancy stuff, because I know there's the one cool trick you can do at the second one of these things. I don't even know what you call it, just the round structure. This part's actually one of the few spots where having cowbell on is actually kind of a challenge, because you'll get to some of these points and not only do you flip way easier because of it, but like the stalker or the ranged ones will shoot you and you will literally not be able to like push back against them because they're putting so much force on you with their shots that your Warthog will like stall. Also, a weird thing is that the debris, some of the debris is physical, like you will collide with it, and some of it isn't, and it's really weird, which, like, there's no consistency to it because, like, they both look the same. It's like the panels get blown up, but some of them are just not solid and some of them are, you know? Generally speaking, you don't really have to worry too much about the guy shooting you, although there is the one spot I know of where there's a guy with a Theorod who will just blast your face, and also sometimes they'll push you. I mean, I'm going the most risky path, so big surprise, I almost fell off. Although it is pretty fast. Oh, is this the spot? No, I think it's the next one. So I guess it's the third round structure where you can jump off. And you can just make it if you hit like the perfect angle. You can kind of skip the whole thing. Also, kind of a weird thing in this game is the Warthog doesn't run over the infection forms for some reason. So you'll actually like flip if you try to ram them. Like even though they're like the little tiny crawly dudes, like you can't run them over. They'll like topple you. It's kind of the same thing with the Sentinels too. Like you wouldn't think it, but their beams push you around like you're. Like you see it, like they shoot you for half a second. I'm doing like a triple barrel roll. So you kind of just want to avoid them. You know, what else is new? You just avoid everything in this game. I mean, regardless, this Warthog run is probably. I mean, I don't know. The Halo 1 Warthog run's not terrible or anything, but this one's definitely better. Like, it's definitely a great way to end the series. I guess the trilogy at least. Here's the jump. I don't even remember what the angle is. He's gonna hit no, I'm not even close. I like bounced off at a weird angle. And then they instantly give you a checkpoint just to rub it in.
50%, Chief.
But yeah, so there's this part right here. There's a bunch of these ranged dudes. And depending on how they shoot you, you might just like, you can see like I can barely move. But then once you get past them, they actually start pushing you. It's kind of funky. I mean, that's partially because I have cowbell on, because, you know, cowbell's fun, quote unquote. It's also kind of a funny thing. You could see that because they were shooting Arbiter there with their beams instead of the Warthog itself, it doesn't actually push the Warthog. Because Arbiter kind of just eats the shot, basically. Okay. I think the Theorod guy is like right over here. Yeah, you can. I mean, you can already see his shots. He's just spraying. Because they're just kind of shooting to the sky to try to kill the Sentinels. So as long as you don't hang around there for too long, you're going to be fine. But sometimes you get shot in the back if you're unlucky. It happens. I mean, okay, here's a fun fact. I'm gonna double on you because, like, this is one of those facts that's kind of hard to explain, but basically this entire area that you traverse with the Warthog is structurally, it's like the same shape as the Silent Cartographer. I just tripped my words. The Silent Cartographer from Halo 1. It's the same shape as that island. There's a good Reddit post that has like a picture that shows the exact way it looks. And it's kind of crazy that they managed to turn that island into like this Warthog run, which is like a really cool detail.
90% firing
Because you would not know it by just driving it. Because it does not look like, I mean, obviously it doesn't look like it because it's just a bunch of metal framing and whatnot, but I mean, it's actually pretty obvious if you really look, because like you drive under this little cave, and it's the exact same shape as one of the spots. Like it's the exact same shape from the beach
Got it, Chief. Jump.
in Silent Cartographer. Like it has that cave part, if you remember. But yeah, no, that's that's kind of it for the game. Ugh. I mean, I've already given my thoughts of the game. I think Halo 3's campaign, it's kind of a mixed bag, you know? Like, it's a good campaign, but it's just like the Flood kind of suck. Like, even though the Flood have all this cool new technology in this game, like they can reanimate, like they can obviously still reanimate bodies, but also the fact that they can just eat brutes and elites and marines and turn them into Flood right then and there is cool. You have the pure forms, which are cool, but just like the Flood are just weirdly buggy is the problem. Like, it is such a pain to just randomly be punching a Flood and he'll just not die forever. And it doesn't help that Halo 3 in general has a feedback problem where, like, you shoot stuff and, like, you can barely tell you're doing damage. Because, like, brute shields don't flare in this game like elites did in Halo 1 and 2. The Flood, you can barely tell. It's this even worse with the Flood ones, because the Flood with shields, like, they don't, like, react at all. So it just looks like they're just not taking damage until all of a sudden the flash from the shields disappearing happens. It's really weird. Technically, that's even true of the Spartans. It's just not as big a deal because you're obviously not shooting other Spartans unless you're team killing in this game. But it does kind of come up in multiplayer. Multiplayer kind of has that problem where you're shooting people and it's less obvious than in Halo 1 and 2 because the shield flare is just not as bright and flashy. It's kind of
storm has passed.
Subtle, which is maybe not the greatest for feedback.
Let us never forget those who journeyed into the howling dark.
And then there's also the fact that, you know, there's the thing like all the brutes look the same in this game. There's like a dozen brute ranks and they're all just blue outside of like the captain and chieftain.
Unshakable conviction that their fight, our fight.
Like, how many people realize that there's like bodyguard brutes or the whatchamacallit, the tracker brute that shows up in ODST who looks exactly like all the other brutes.
This hillside will remain barren.
I mean, there's also the fact that the campaign's just really short.
They ennobled all of us.
I mean, the shortness is kind of the big problem because they don't get a lot of time to introduce stuff, so you barely get to play with some of the things, like the Sentinels, for example, where they show up, like you shoot like 10 Sentinels in the whole game. Or especially egregious is Hunters. Hunters show up like 3 times ever in this game. And you don't even realize it until you really count. Like, there's the ones on the Storm, there's the ones at the start of the Ark, and then there's the ones on the Covenant, and that's it. The 3 Hunters. It's actually crazy. Because it's the same thing. Hunters have this cool technology where you can blow off the back of their armor.
Standing by him to the end.
But, like, it's, you know, it's like you barely get to see them, so, like, it almost, like, barely matters. And to be fair, a lot of that is because Halo 3 kind of built on other things. Like, obviously there's Forge, which is fantastic. There's the theater mode, which I always think, like, theater mode is honestly crazy when you really think about how you can just have entire playbacks of just entire gameplay sessions, even in campaign.
Without the prophet's lies.
Right? Everything happens, you know, exactly as it did in game. And it's funny to me because Halo 3 and Halo Reach's theater mode is like a perfect playback, and then for some reason Halo 4 onward it's like really bad. I don't know what happened, but theater mode in those games, in like later Halo games, is just like you'll look at a playback and you'll be shooting. It'll show your character shooting, but you won't be aiming where you're actually aiming. It's weird. It's just like inaccurate. I don't know why it suddenly became inaccurate like that. I think, from what I remember, it's because basically instead of saving theater mode files per person, it saves like just one generic theater mode file for just a whole game, which is why in multiplayer, like any lag will kind of fuck with it, which is kind of an unfortunate thing. Let me think.
Chief? Can you hear me?
I will say
I thought I'd lost you too.
that ODST actually kind of fixes most of like the little problems that Halo 3 has with things like the brutes are like you remember the shield flare problem. The brutes actually, you know, their shields flare in ODST, which is like instantly solves that problem. You know, that's all you need.
What happened?
You get a lot more feedback on shooting brutes, and then there's no flood in ODST, so you don't have to worry about that.
Shook itself to pieces.
number on the arm.
ODST Sandbox doesn't have the same problem that Halo 3 did, where every weapon just feels the same.
Just as it collapsed.
Because ODST actually does a great job of making every weapon feel distinct. Just thanks to the fact that they can work with things like ODSTs having weaker melee attacks. Unless, you know, you're using a brute shot or a spiker or something. Because, like, this, it's really weird that in Halo 3, there's 3 different types of melee attacks. Because there's ones for, well, I guess technically 4 because there's the sword, but there's ones for regular guns, there's ones for the brute shot. Actually, is the brute shot grouped with the rocket launcher? I don't remember. There's the ones for the assault rifle and, like, all the, like, regular guns. There's ones for heavy weapons like the rocket launcher and the Fear and the Sentinel beam and whatnot. They do a little more damage. The Spiker also gets its own thing. It does like slightly more damage, but if you actually look at the numbers, it's like, oh, the regular melee does 70 damage. The Spiker does 72 damage. Oh boy. Like, why'd they even bother? The difference basically doesn't matter in 99% of situations, but they bothered to give it its own melee attack for some reason. I don't know why. It's one of those weird things, like, I think it's because it's kind of just a byproduct of them making melee so much stronger in this game. Because, like, yeah, okay, the regular melee is super strong now, so they can't really make other weapons have even stronger melee attacks, because that's just, like, that's going to throw everything out of whack. In Halo 2, they can get away with that, because regular melees in Halo 2 are pretty weak. So they can have, you know, the brute shot and the rocket launcher have, like, these big melee attacks. It does technically matter, like, for the brute shot, I think, in that specific case, I believe the brute shot melee attack is just strong enough that you can kill with a single brute shot and then a punch will kill. Oh, also, yeah, here's the legendary ending. Hooray. It's kind of funny in a way that Bungie set up for the sequel that they never got to make. Said that got passed to the next company. Look at it's just kind of sad, you know, like you look at Halo 2. Halo 2 has freaking how many missions? Like, if you don't count the cutscene stuff, you know, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 missions. Not counting the 2 tutorials. And, like, technically each of these missions is a little shorter than, like, stuff in, like, something in Halo 1, for example. But, like, they're not really much shorter than Halo 3's missions, and there's a lot more of them. There's a lot more variety, too, because the extra missions just mean they get, you know, more time to introduce stuff. Whereas, like, Halo 3, it's like, how many missions? I think Halo 3's 10 missions. Like Halo, it's funny because Halo 3 has 10 missions, I think, right? Oh, never mind. It has 9 missions because one of them's the epilogue, one of them's the tutorial at the start. So it has 9 missions. That's like the least amount of missions in any of the Bungie games. And each of these missions is not exactly long, is the thing, too. Like, the first couple missions are not super short, but then, like, you've got, you know, the Storm and Floodgate, which are both pretty short. Like, they're basically 2 halves of the same whole, because they're just the same level, but backwards. You know, classic. The Ark is pretty long, and the Covenant's weird because it seems like it's long, but it's really not. You basically do, like, what is it? You do one run to the first tower, and then you do a dogfight, and you do, like, the 3rd tower, and then you're already almost at the end. Cortana's the same thing, too. Like, it seems long if you're taking your time, but, like, you're kind of encouraged to just run through it, and then you're done in, like, 10 minutes. And then even the last level, it's like most of the level is just doing the Warthog run, if you know what you're doing. Like, it's just a little too short. And, like, you can tell they wanted to do more, because compared to, like, Halo 1 and 2, there is a ton of unused dialogue in this game, like, and it's like recorded and just sitting in some of the map files. It's actually crazy. Like, elites have a shit ton of unused dialogue because, you know, elites only show up twice, right? That's the crazy thing though is like the elites are kind of like, you know, they're one of like the big iconic Halo dudes, but they show up once in like they show up in Floodgate, and then they show up in one tiny part in the Covenant, and that's it. That's all you get for elites. There's a bunch of unused dialogue for elites like being captured or whatever that would have been. Same thing with like Marines and whatnot and Johnson. Like there's a lot of that. Even just the mission Cortana alone has like a bunch of unused Cortana dialogue. Although that one's more just a case of they probably just didn't want to do too much of that. Especially because some of the some of the unused Cortana dialogue is like pretty creepy. Which, you know, may or may not work well, but there's already a lot of that, so you could argue that's like just a case of I believe there's dialogue for the Ark that suggests there would have been elites on that mission too, so it's just like, and like it makes sense because it's like, oh, Floodgate has elites, and then there's just no elites on the Ark, and then elites just show up again in the Covenant. You know, it's like there's just like this little gap for some reason. And we do know from like, you know, official sources that there was supposed to be at least 2 more missions in this game, right? There's the infamous flood ship and, you know, Guardian Forest or whatever it's called. That was supposed to be in between Floodgate and the Ark, and then in between Ark and the Covenant, I believe. That sounds about right. Like, really, that's what it just kind of comes down to. Is Halo 3 is just too short. Most of the problems just stem from too short, you know? If they had, like, 2 more missions, you know, they'd have more time to have Flood. They'd have more time to have everything that's just too little of. Because, like, it's kind of unfortunate. Because, like, especially with, like, the Covenant, you know? The Covenant are great in Halo 3. Honestly. Like, people complain about brutes so much in Halo 3. Like, they don't feel super aggro like they were in Halo 2. And that's definitely true to a degree. But, like, I think Halo 3's brutes do a good job of feeling distinct from elites. And not also the annoying, just, like, I don't even know what you'd call them in Halo 2. Like, the annoying, I saw someone once use the word shock trooper, which I think is kind of a fitting term for them in Halo 2. Because they're just, like, super, like, you need to use, like, specific things to deal with them in Halo 2. Right? You either hard ping them, or you headshot them, you know? That's, like, the best ways to deal with them in that game. Whereas in Halo 3, it definitely feels a lot more viable to just shoot them with, like, not a headshot weapon. Although, at the same time, that's also not true, because they're still super resistant to small arms fire for whatever reason. But they also just have less health, so it kind of balances out in a way. And once again, like, ODST kind of fixes those problems. Like, honest to God, I always say this, that, you know, thank God ODST had the firefight, because, like, ODST's firefight is basically, like, the best Halo experience you're gonna get, just shooting dudes. Because, like, Halo Reach has firefight, but Reach's firefight is just annoying at times. And, you know, once I get around to doing Reach's campaign, I'll definitely talk about that. Because I honestly think Halo Reach's Legendary is more obnoxious than Halo 2's. Because, like, you don't die quite as lightning fast as Halo 2. And instead, everything just takes a million shots to die. Like, it's egregious that you'll stick, like, elites in Halo 3, or in Halo Reach, and they just don't die at Legendary. It's, like, ridiculous. Like, I think in Halo 2, it's notable that Ultra Elites in Halo 2 won't die to a stick. But then in Halo Reach, it's like, oh, every elite just doesn't die to a stick. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, even just, like, the regular, like, grunts, and especially jackals, are weirdly spongy in Reach. Like, the whole point of jackals is you're supposed to shoot their little weak spot, right? And then they pop their head out and you shoot them. But then, like, in Reach, for whatever reason, even after you do that, they just take, like, you know, like, a clip or 2 of assault rifle to kill. It doesn't help that Reach weapons just in general feel really underpowered. Like, Reach, for whatever reason, nerfed the assault rifle to be weaker than Halo 3 and made it less accurate. It's kind of weird that they would do that, considering I don't think anyone's ever called the assault rifle overpowered. But, you know, And then in the same game they did that, they introduced, you know, the DMR and the needle rifle, which are like pretty much the best precision weapons in the series. Because like the DMR is just lightning accurate and can fire surprisingly fast, and the needle rifle is just like mega cheese. It basically insta kills like pretty much every enemy in the campaign other than elites. Ugh. I have a lot of problems with Halo Reach, but like, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, that's just because I really like the game. You know, when a game's been out for, you know, 20 years, you know, you can start to nitpick at everything. That's just kind of how it goes. I think it's easy to forget that. I guess that's all I really have to say. Yeah, I guess that's about it. Alright. I don't know what I'm gonna do next. Because I'm not gonna just do Halo Reach right away, because I like to have little breaks. I'll probably I know the whatchamacallit, the JD Aster's Paper Mario mod came out recently. And I was originally just gonna, like, I don't know if I'm gonna, I might still not do that, but I think I might do a voiced playthrough of that, but I might just do like an unvoiced playthrough. I don't know. We'll see. Because like it's kind of long. It's not really meant to just be like something you just grind out in one session. So I don't know. Because the nice thing about Infinite Pit is you can kind of, it's like, it's just, you know, you do floor 1 to 100 and I can, you know, bank that out in 2 sessions. But you know, Tower of Trials is like kind of a reoccurring thing. You know, you're not supposed to just, you know, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. That'll probably be the next thing. And then after that, I don't know. We'll see. That'll be it for this part, though. Thank you for... I don't know why I'm being so formal now. Thank you for joining me on Halo 3. I mean, I think of I mean, I can at least say this before we end off, that, like, I give Halo 3's campaign a lot of shit, but it's still a great campaign. It's just, it really is just the one flaw of being too short. But, like, it makes up for it in other ways. Like, having the theater mode is awesome. Forge is awesome. Halo 3's multiplayer is awesome. And I mentioned this even during the campaign, that vehicle sections in the campaign are atrocious on Legendary because you get sniped out of your vehicle by other vehicles, which is just ridiculous. But then multiplayer as a whole, you know, Halo 3 has the best multiplayer vehicles in the series because it's like the best mix of, you know, they feel strong, but they aren't just like indestructible death machines, kind of like they are in 2 outside of like rockets. Because like Halo Reach, you know, like Halo Reach is weird because the vehicles are like glass cannons in Reach for some reason. Like especially things like the tank and the Wraith feel so great in Reach. But like I don't know why they decided that, like, oh, you know, I'm in a tank, I'll just, you know, die because people just shoot me a million times with the DMR and I just blow up, which is really annoying. But that, you know, that's for another time. Anyways, that'll be it for this part. See you guys later.